Now, Mark Rutte called Trump daddy for a reason. While NATO scrambled to write trillion-dollar checks, Trump was busy doing what real leaders do, ending wars with nothing but a phone call. When Trump sent 52 fighter jets to violate the ceasefire with Iran, one called from Trump brought them home. That's the daddy energy. That's the big D energy that Europe finally admits that they need. To be honest, what have they done with the place? It's a beautiful place, but what have they done with the place? It's being overrun by radicals. Trump didn't just stop the escalation. He had already obliterated Iran's nuclear program so completely that Israel confirmed that it's been destroyed for years. Like it's incredible. No 20-year occupation, no nation-building disaster, just American bombs, American strength, and American victory. The same president NATO calls daddy just proved that you can project power without projecting weakness. The warmongers hate him because he makes their endless wars look like the scam they've always been. You're going to want to keep watching. Now, just as Trump brings truth to foreign policy, the Tuttle twins bring truth to your children's education. While Syrian kids learn about American strength bringing peace, what are your kids learning? Freedom is never more than one generation from extinction. That's why the Tuttle twins create Liberty First content teaching real economics and responsibility, not woke propaganda. Their monthly magazine shows kids how free markets create prosperity, why peace through strength works, and what real American values look like. While the establishment indoctrinates, Tuttle Twins educates. Subscribe for just $56 a year at TuttleTwins.com/next. Teach them to think critically about the world and what Trump is doing to reshape it. Now let's have a look at Gary's final hit from NATO. Take a look.
Gary Franchi here, Chief White House Correspondent for the Next News Network, reporting live from inside the White House secured hotel within NATO's high-security perimeter in The Hague, Netherlands. It's still a sunny evening outside, the calm after the storm as the NATO summit enters its final phases. President Trump has already made his mark here, and the consequences of his actions are still rippling through global diplomacy. Now, as we speak, the world's most powerful nations have committed trillions in defense spending. But peace still hangs by a thread. With Russia's aggression still very much in the picture, NATO leaders are scrambling to figure out their next moves. Earlier today, in back-to-back press conferences, Trump and Mark Rutte both made major announcements, setting the tone for what will likely become a defining moment in the future of NATO and U.S.-European relations. Now, we're going to take a closer look at what exactly went down at the summit today. Now, President Trump, he did take the stage earlier, highlighting the precision strike on Iran's nuclear enrichment facilities. He called it a massive success and even dubbed it obliteration. Take a look.
As you know, last weekend, the United States successfully carried out a massive precision strike on Iran's nuclear enrichment facilities, and it was very, very successful. It was called obliteration. No other military on earth could have done it, and now this incredible exercise of American strength has paved the way for peace with a historic ceasefire agreement late Monday, and we call it the 12-day war. Spoke to a few people. I guess that just sounded like the right name. It was a 12-day war. And we think it's over. I don't think they're going to be going back at each other. I don't think so. Not only have we dealt decisively with the critical threat of Iran's nuclear program, which was what I wanted. I said, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I've said that for 15 years, long before I decided to do the political thing. But we've also reasserted the credibility of American deterrence, which is like no other. The people at NATO said there's never been anything. I rebuilt the entire military during my first term. And we have a great military. We have great generals. I got to know the good ones and the bad ones. We kept the good ones.
That is American strength in action. Trump didn't just stop a nuclear threat. He set the stage for peace. No other military in the world could have done this. And with that action, Trump is now pushing a historic ceasefire, ending the 12-day war between Iran and Israel. In his press conference, Trump took the opportunity to point out NATO's historic shift on defense spending. After years of resistance, NATO members are finally committing to a 5% GDP defense spending goal, thanks to President Trump's leadership. Take a look.
Over the past 2 days, I was honored to participate in the NATO leaders meeting and also had extremely good individual discussions with the King and the Queen, Secretary General Rutte, and the Prime Minister. Great discussions, very knowledgeable people. Major focus of our conversations at the summit was the need for other NATO members to take up the burden of the defense of Europe, and that included the financial burden. As you know, it was 2%, and we got it up to 5%. And they said, a couple of them came up to me, one in particular said, "Sir, we've been trying to get it up to 3% for 20 years, and we haven't been able, and you got it up to 5%. So they're going to be, most of them, I guess almost all of them, are going to be contributing now, 5%, a number that people are surprised at, but you need it today. The United States accounts for 2/3 of all NATO defense spending. And since I began pushing for additional commitments in 2017, believe it or not, our allies have increased spending by $700 billion. I said to people, you don't have any money, and a lot of them weren't paying. And so I started the process, and I picked it up as soon as I got back, which is 6 months ago. And following my election last November, almost all have accelerated plans to reach the 2%, 3%, 4%, and then ultimately, very quickly, 5%. And all of this is going to be done very quickly, almost immediately. You probably know this as well as I do. I'm sure they've been talking about it. It's really been a big focus. In a very historic milestone this week, the NATO allies committed to dramatically increase their defense spending to that 5% of GDP, something that no one really thought possible. And they said, "You did it, sir, you did it." Well, I don't know if I did it, but I think I did. This will be known as the Hague Defense Commitment, which is pretty good, pretty appropriate. When the allies reach this number, it will add more than $1 trillion a year. Think of that, $1 trillion per year to our common defense. And this is a monument really to victory, but it's a monumental win for the United States, because we were carrying much more than our fair share. It was quite unfair, actually. But this is a big win for Europe and for actually Western civilization.
Now, this is a game changer. NATO has finally stepped up, but it wasn't until Trump forced their hand. This is a monumental victory for the United States and for America first, and for global peace through strength. Then Trump read a letter from the Atomic Energy Commission of Israel confirming that the U.S. strike on Fordo successfully destroyed Iran's critical nuclear infrastructure. Take a look.
A letter just came in, and a statement came in from the Atomic Energy Commission of Israel. And I just wondered, this is an official letter, and they're very serious people, as you know. The devastating U.S. strike on Fordo destroyed the site's critical infrastructure and rendered the enrichment facility totally inoperable. It was devastated. We assess that the American strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities have set back Iran's ability to develop nuclear weapons for many years to come. This achievement can continue indefinitely if Iran does not get access to nuclear material, which it won't. It's so sad that whole thing had to go. But I just want to thank our pilots. You know, they were maligned and treated very bad, demeaned by fake news CNN, which is back there, believe it or not, wasting time, and nobody's watching them. So they're just wasting a lot of time, wasting my time.
Now, this wasn't just a strike. This was a strategic victory that set Iran's nuclear ambitions back for years. Now, Trump's decisive action has made the world safer, but he is not stopping there. When asked about the impact of the American strike, Trump made it clear the damage was obliteration. And he didn't just hit Iran's nuclear facilities, he crippled their ability to build bombs for a generation. Watch.
This is also, Iran made the statement, and it's also, if you read the document that was given, that Pete can talk about if you'd like. The document said it could be very severe damage, but they didn't take that. They said it could be limited or it could be very severe. They really didn't know, other than to say it could be limited or it could be very, very severe. And you didn't choose to put that because it was very early after. Since then, we've collected additional intelligence. We've also spoken to people who have seen the site, and the site is obliterated. And we think everything nuclear is down there. They didn't take it out.
That is the Trump doctrine. Strike hard, strike fast, and neutralize threats. America first, always. Then, in a bold move, Trump spoke with absolute confidence about the Israel-Iran ceasefire. After a devastating conflict, both sides were ready to pull back, and he said, and Trump's intervention made that possible. Watch.
You just said you believe the conflict between Israel and Iran is over. What makes you so confident it is? And what do you do if it isn't? Because I dealt with both, and they're both tired, exhausted. They fought very, very hard and very viciously, very violently, and they were both satisfied to go home and get out. And can it start again? I guess someday it can. It could maybe start soon. I think a big telltale sign was when, as you know, Iran somewhat, by not much, violated the ceasefire. And Israel had the planes going out that morning, and there were a lot of them, 52 of them. And I said, you got to get them back. And they brought them back. They didn't do anything. They brought them back. It was very good. I thought it was amazing, actually. They have fought a hell of a war. They fought very hard. I think the war ended, actually, when we hit the various nuclear sites with the planes. And I just hope you people can give these pilots, these are the best pilots in the world. They're the best shots in the world. They call them shots. That's what they are. And wait a minute. And I just hope you can give them the respect they deserve, because they came home to fake news. And like, oh, gee, there was hardly any damage. The things are decimated. So, but I think, no, I think they're very much finished. I think Israel's going to get back to doing what they do, and I think that Iran's going to get back. You know, Iran has a huge advantage. They have great oil, and they can do things. I don't see them getting back involved in the nuclear business anymore. I think they've had it. They've been at it for 20 years, and I don't see that happening either. Now, if it does, we're always there. It won't be me. It'll be somebody else, but we're there. We'll have to do something about it.
He's not just a president. He's a peacemaker. And he didn't just broker a ceasefire. He forced both sides to the table. That's a diplomatic victory that NATO can't take credit for. Now, in the heat of his press conference, Deborah Haynes from Sky News, she asked Trump about Mark Rutte calling him daddy earlier that day. Trump's response, classic Trump, straight to the point with no hesitation. Watch this.
Go ahead, back, white, yeah. White jacket, yeah. Go ahead, give my mic. Hello.
Deborah Haynes from Sky News. Mark Rutte, the NATO chief, who is your friend, he called you daddy earlier. Do you regard your NATO allies as kind of children?
No, he likes me. I think he likes me. If he doesn't, I'll let you know. I'll come back and I'll hit him hard, okay? He did it very affectionate. Daddy, you're my daddy.
Do you regard your NATO allies, though, as kind of like children, and they're obviously listening to you and they're spending more, and you're obviously appreciative of that, but do you hope that actually they're going to be able to defend themselves, defend Europe on their own?
I think they need help a little bit at the beginning, and I think they'll be able to, and I think they're going to remember this day. And this was a big day for NATO. You know, this was a very big day. They took it. One of the gentlemen said, you know what, we've been trying to raise the rate for 30 years, he said, 20 years, from almost the beginning. And he's been there for a long time. He said, until you came along, it never happened. What you did is amazing. It's been sort of an amazing day for a lot of reasons, but also for that. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you think they can do it without you, though, in the future? Can they do it without
Well, ask Mark. I bet you have to ask Mark.
Trump's confidence is unparalleled. He's here to lead, not coddle. He took Rutte's affectionate comment and turned it into a reminder that he is the one in charge setting the stage for NATO's bold new direction. And Rutte didn't back down either. In his press conference, he gave Trump credit for his leadership, admitting that without him, NATO would still be stuck at 2% defense spending. Watch this.
The language that you have used when talking to Donald Trump has been notable because of its flattery. Today you called him Daddy, and you sent a text message to him that was gushing with praise. Is this the way that you feel that you have to act when doing business with the US President, through flattery and praise? Isn't it a bit demeaning, and doesn't it make you look weak?
No, I don't think so. I think it's a bit of a question of taste, but I think he's a good friend, and when he is doing stuff which is forcing us to, for example, when it comes to making more investments. I mean, would you ever think that this would be the result of this summit if he would not have been re-elected president? Do you really think that the 7 or 8 countries who said, yeah, somewhere in the 2030s we might meet 2%, we've now all decided in the last 4 or 5 months to get to 2%? So doesn't he deserve some praise? And when it comes to Iran, the fact that he took this decisive action, very targeted, to make sure that Iran would not be able to get its hands on a nuclear capability, I think he deserves all the praise.
This is the kind of leadership that Trump has brought to NATO. It's not just about what's said, it's about what is delivered. Trump's strength is why NATO is finally stepping up. Meanwhile, Rutte spoke about NATO's unwavering support for Ukraine as NATO members pledge billions to strengthen its defense industry. Watch.
Together, allies have laid the foundations for a stronger, fairer and more lethal NATO. NATO leaders agreed on the Hague Defense Investment Plan. This will fuel a quantum leap in our collective defense. They agreed to boost our defense industries, which will not only increase our security, but will also create jobs. And we have reaffirmed our unwavering support for Ukraine. All of this is crucial. It means that no matter the challenges we face, whether from Russia or terrorism, cyber attacks, sabotage or strategic competition, this alliance is and will remain ready, willing and able to defend every inch of Allied territory.
Now here is the dangerous side of NATO's push: prolonged conflict in Ukraine. Trump's vision of peace is now at odds with NATO's vision of endless investment in Ukraine's military at the expense of Europe's peace and prosperity. So this summit has changed NATO forever. Thanks to President Trump, the 5% defense spending commitment is a game changer, but the road to peace is not paved with billions in military aid. NATO's true objective might not be peace, but endless war, something that Trump won't stand for. This is Gary Franchi for the Next News Network, bringing you the truth from inside the perimeter of the NATO summit. Stay tuned, stay bold, and as always, keep watching.
NATO. Daddy has been away at work, but he has come home. You have misbehaved. You did not do your chores. It is time for you to be bent over Daddy's knee and to receive the spanking that has been coming to you for quite a while. And as the tears start to roll, believe me, Daddy will cradle you in his ample bosom and hold you when the tears come. Trump just showed NATO exactly what strength looks like. 12 days, 3 nuclear sites completely obliterated. You know, they say he likes to use that word a lot. I like to use that word too. You know, 1 ceasefire that holds, and 52 fighter jets turn around with a single phone call. That's not diplomacy. That's good parenting. That's fatherhood. Daddy. And I'm old enough to remember that NATO officials are not the first person to call Trump daddy. I'm old enough to remember Milo Yiannopoulos begging to be adopted by Donald Trump. The establishment wanted another Iraq. The military-industrial complex wanted another Afghanistan. Instead, Daddy Trump delivered what they said was impossible. Victory without occupation, peace through precision strikes. No wonder Rutt's practically bowing at Trump's feet. This is amazing. This isn't American history. This isn't world history. This is human history being played out in real time. But watch closely. While praising Trump, Rutt also wanted unwavering support for Ukraine. Translation: endless billions for another proxy war. Trump ends wars. NATO extends them. Now we're talking about $1 trillion here. Let's do a little thought experiment. You know how much $1 trillion is? Imagine a football field with $100 bills stacked up 6 feet high. An entire football field with $100 bills stacked up 6 feet high. That's $1 trillion. But here's what matters. Should America keep playing sugar daddy to NATO's war machine, or follow Trump's path of peace through strength? Yes for Trump's way, no for NATO's wars. Let's hear it. Now, support real leadership. Grab your next news gear below.